Hello and welcome back to another 5K tennis discussion. Today is Monday, March the 9th, 2020. And even though Indian Wells has been canceled, we still have a lot to talk about right here. So let's go. Come on. Let's get down. Woo! Let's go. All right, Carla. ¿Qué pasó?
I've never said let's go. Come on the tennis court ever.
I have.
I never in my matches have I ever done that.
It brings a sense of attitude.
Not even vamos. I hate using that term.
Oh, I get down. I'm like, what's up? Get some of that.
The only thing I do, I go like this. That's it. But I'm not vocal out there.
I get pumped. All right. Carla and I spent a lot of time this morning. We had one lesson early. It's a beautiful day here, by the way. And the rest of our day was free. So we spent some time in kind of separate corners. Talking or writing rather, and not talking about necessarily our thoughts on the cancellation of Indian Wells and other sporting events in history. And right there in the last 5 minutes, basically before we came in here, we had a comment from an individual that always it has something nice to say. And the gentleman's name was Paritosh Muley, or Muley, M-U-L-E-Y, goes by Perry.
Perry, we have a student named Perry.
Yeah, we do. Go Perry! But we were writing, I guess, our thoughts on this coronavirus and the cancellations and more than that, on a global type platform in our thoughts. And I was searching for a title to kind of title the video. And I think that's kind of important to kind of choose a title. Mm-hmm. But I think his comment, Perry's comment, actually is like the title in of itself. So let's get down with this and read his comment.
This is really sad for all the sporting events forced to be canceled due to coronavirus. In the past, the tennis tournaments have been canceled due to world wars, and now coronavirus. It's hard to swallow, but certain things are just out of our control.
Yeah. So this show is going to be solely on what he just indicated. There has been multiple sporting events throughout the history of humankind that have been canceled because of wars. And I think wasn't there like an Olympics that had even the likes of like Hitler and Nazi Germany back in the day that had a whole lot of political implications and it went forward. But at the same time, here we are losing a tennis tournament that's synonymous with a fifth major. It's like the fifth biggest tournament in all of tennis, and there was like one case reported. So it just seems a little fishy to me.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot. I mean, do I mention the things that have been canceled?
Yeah, mention some of the events that have been canceled.
We know that Wimbledon was canceled during World War II. I mean, it got bombed. Center court got bombed.
Yeah, those V2s were raining havoc.
Yeah, and I would understand why they would cancel that.
Yeah,
I mean that makes sense.
Look, I mean, if you're about to play tennis and a V2 rocket is fixing to take off from Germany and land on your dome, yeah, it's not good to play. However, at the same point in time, Novak Djokovic, Ana Ivanovic, Helena Jankovic, and all those Serbians that get down, woo! They were taking practice in bombed-out swimming pools, so they were pretty close to that. But yeah, when live V2s are flying into London, you got to cancel the deal.
Yeah, in 2014, a tournament called Tel Aviv Open was canceled because there was conflict between Israel and Palestine. There was a protest.
There's been conflict there for eons of time, but nonetheless, that's the real deal. Holyfield, not one case just in the valley, surrounding yonder.
Another one was Rotterdam. I don't know, this is a long time ago. Connors and Lendl were playing in the finals, and he was up 6-0, 1-0, and there was a bomb threat. So therefore, they decided to share the title.
Understandable. Understandable.
The Olympics will only have 100 people at their ceremony, their light-up ceremony, thanks to coronavirus.
I heard about that. So the opening ceremony in the Olympics in Tokyo 2020 is going to be incapacitated by this virus, and they're only going to let a select handful of people in the ceremony. Now, if you look in the past, like look in China, when was the Olympics were in Beijing not terribly long ago. And, the whole world's watching this beautiful, huge stadium that I think now is...
It's what I actually enjoy watching is that ceremony.
Yeah, I think now, though, otherwise, that huge mega stadium in China stays somewhat empty from what I've read.
Actually, all the Olympic stadium, if you notice, we've watched a lot of these shows, even in Russia when it was held. they stay empty. They just build this for like, the Olympics, and then no one's there. Interesting.
Has anyone in humankind ever built something for marketing and then, it's just too much to keep up with after the cameras go off or the crowd leaves and then it just turns into a hubble?
It looks like zombies went through it and just there's nothing there. Everything's overgrowing and it's just hard. It's sad actually that they build that just for that special moment and then never use it again.
Maybe kind of the ruins in Rome and Athens and Greece, and maybe they're synonymous. Nothing new underneath the sun, I guess. Let's get down!
The worldwide indoor track and field championships were postponed. Rome marathons, all canceled. Paris marathons postponed till October. The International Ice Hockey Federation canceled 6 world championship tournaments for March and April. Women's World Hockey Championships has been canceled. The Coming Open in Anning, China, which is a women's event, canceled. Challenges cancels in Spain. Davis Cup Japan versus Italy, no spectators. They played, but there were no spectators. China withdrew from the Davis Cup. Fed Cup that was supposed to be played in China moved to Dubai. 2 WTA challengers, there were 125K, cancel. 3 ATP challengers, cancel. Many ITF events, cancel. And an ATP challenger in Italy, cancel.
2 things that to rebut, not rebut, but to further this. By the way, in red, what do they call that? Hold on. In Spanish, rojo. Isn't it rojo? Red? Rojo? With the rolling R. She looks good in red. Let's go. Like a raging bull, like a matador. Like, show me the red. I'm going to charge at you. Coming right at you like a bull. What's up? Shoot. Whew. Man. Lady in red. Okay. We are not going to cancel anything here, though. Okay. First and foremost, definitely not cancel anything here. We never run out of topics because there's a lot of us that talk every single day, and some reason always a light bulb goes on and we have something to talk about. No cancellations here. None. Negative. Not happening. We've actually talked about this.
Oh, and soccer games are being played in Italy without spectators, too.
And that's big there.
That's big there, yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of spectators for those type of events. Indian Wells, Carlin, and I, and all of you, we've talked about the potential of this tournament being canceled for a couple of weeks now. Yeah. I think we did a video and we put coronavirus in the title, and we got kind of a warning about that. But anyway,
what I'm shocked is that they waited.
That was like 7 days ago.
I'm shocked that they waited this long. There are players who went to go play the qualifying. They flew over there. They spent money over there. Other players that decided not to play certain matches because they wanted to play in this big event, and then it gets canceled last minute. And there are a lot of tennis players that are upset.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at Fabio Fognini, the beautiful beard, the silky smooth young man himself with a bad attitude, talking about bombs earlier. Didn't he want to bomb London at one point in time? Nonetheless, but he was playing, I think, Davis Cup. And then wanted to travel to Indian Wells, and there was a tie-up for that. However, there's an Indian player. We talked about the Indian player yesterday, Sumit Nagal, not Nadal, Nagal with a G. Mm-hmm. A player like Nagal, someone like him, when they travel clear across the country and they're there, and they're qualifying or they're in the main draw, any of those that travel to the qualies, etc., they travel across the world to get there. They're already broke. They're already living in an Airbnb. They're already taking an Uber to the stadium. They already get shunned to the local public park to get their match practice in while everybody else is practicing in Indian Wells. A lot of people don't understand that people like Nagal aren't staying at the Ritz-Carlton and getting limoed to court number 1 for their practice session and taking a photo shoot afterwards and before. They're getting shunned to a local park to practice. Then they get brought back to their shared double hotel room, and they're broke. And most of them are broke, at least at the quali setting, unless they just come from deep pockets. And here they are, their tournament's canceled. And now you have this huge question mark in everyone's head is now my job is basically like I'm unemployed.
We have quite a few people that
you're unemployed. If you're scraping from the bottom of the barrel, as most of us humans are in this world in which we live, just saying.
Yeah, Mackie McDonald said, currently unemployed.
You can't say it any better than that because a lot of these players are in debt up to their ears to coaches and clubs and places that and you name it that they've trained at, that they, hey, I'll pay homage to you if I make it type thing.
Right.
And then all of a sudden there's no tournaments planned. Where do they go? What do they do? Maybe live on mom and dad's couch, maybe if they're lucky. But this is very real in the game.
Well, I know we had a lot of viewers saying, "Oh, poor Djokovic. Djokovic is the biggest one to lose at it. The biggest one. The biggest loss is for Djokovic." And I say no. It's definitely for those.
It's not the biggest loss.
No,
for Novak
it's definitely
Djokovic.
for those that are
not a problem.
Not a problem. It's for those that are out of the top 100 that are struggling. Like he said, they're flying there. What do they do now? I mean, there was a comment that said, "Can't believe they cancel." Indian Wells, surely they're going to have to compensate all the players with some sort of points, money.
What about
what happens to the players defending points?
What about players like Laszlo Djiri and Lajovic? And I think about those two players because I like both those players a lot, and I know they don't come from filthy rich. And I don't know if they were there or not, but people in Serbia, I wonder if Djiri, Lajovic, players like that that came from a really rough area and time. I'm curious if they were there and where they are at financially with this. But Novak Djokovic, respectively, he's got 140 million in prize money. He's okay.
Thiem, Zverev, those type of players are okay. Even Diego Schwartzman was upset. He put on his Twitter account, it would have been nice to find out, if they would have called us instead of through social media. Jamie Murray was highly upset. He's like, what's going to happen? He's like, why aren't we just playing these tournaments without spectators? And the reality is that they need the spectators to make money. Tennis is a business. Without the spectators, there is no money.
No, I know in the NBA, that's the National Basketball Association, I know there's been some talk about the NBA players showing up to play games with no fans. And LeBron James was like, nah. I don't blame that. I don't blame LeBron for saying that. I don't think that that's a good business model whatsoever. I think the fans is what brings it to the house. Tennis is, at the highest level is 2 weeks and 7 matches to the end. You know what I mean? In terms of each individual player, in the NBA, you got 92 games. Major League Baseball, you got 162. So, it's easier said than done when you have a longer season, but the fans keep you going as an athlete. It's like when Perry sent the message earlier about he wanted to say, let's go, or let's get down when he plays tennis. For me, you say you don't say that, but when I do the show, or if I'm on the tennis court, or whether or not we go to garage sales a lot, by the way. We get up early on Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday mornings, and we go to garage sales, so we try to find things that we can buy relatively inexpensively. And then we return and sell those on eBay. Shout out to Cam Williams, by the way. Cam Williams does the same thing in Australia. That's how I found his channel in the first place. Let's go, Cam. But nonetheless, the players that are in this position that are scraping from the bottom of the barrel, that have to now find themselves unemployed with plane tickets and so forth, with a canceled tournament. It's devastating. Now here's one of Nadal's statements after the cancellation, and something approximating it. I didn't write it and quote it, but here's a journalist asking Rafael Nadal, hey, it's canceled. What's the flavor of someone like his response? Something like this. Stay safe. It's sad for tennis, but hey, everybody stay safe. A relatively appeasing response.
Well,
right?
Yeah, because he doesn't want to piss off the tennis, people in charge and behind the scenes.
His boy Tommy Haas that runs it.
Or
he's
being smart about it.
Or is it that he's got, $500 million in assets somewhere?
It doesn't affect him. It affects people like if more tournaments get canceled, which I think if they cancel Indian Wells, why wouldn't they cancel Miami Open when they just cancel a whole bunch of concerts up there?
Why
wouldn't they do that?
Now, let me flip the coin to tails. Nadal's answer was heads. Now, we wrote separately today, and we were right on the same page. By the way, you look good in rojo. But we wrote separately, but we wrote the same thing here. I wrote a thumbs kind of down on Nadal's statement because he has a bigger platform to really drive this home and just didn't take advantage of it. I think LeBron James ran into the same thing with something in China not terribly long ago. But I give Nadal a thumbs down on that response because players like Sumit Nagal, hence why I brought him up, Jamie Murray, which you brought up, so same brainwave, are highly upset about it. Hey,
well,
you
even
could have
Millman said I could have played in the Davis Cup.
You-
He's not making any money.
Yeah,
he's another guy that's showing. He's like, I could have played in the Davis Cup if I would have.
Yeah, could you let a brother know sooner? Because now I'm hurting.
Yeah.
I'm hurting now, and I'm stuck. Maybe.
Remember, these guys don't have health insurance. They pay for their own.
Yeah, shit hit the fan for these guys.
Yeah, they get
shit hit
hurt.
the
They gotta
fan.
pay for that. It's different. I mean, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna refund? I mean, no, I know they're giving a full refund to those fans, but not only does it affect players if they keep canceling a tournament. There's linesmen, there's umpires, there's
Ball
sponsors,
boys, ball girls that have trained
all
for
that
it.
stuff. Yeah, they lose money too. They are out of work.
Now, if all of us, and I was going to say we, there is no we here. This is like a group, and so we have on this channel, on this show, we have talked about this virus for, when was it that we released that thumbnail with Kyrgios on it, and we had, hey, you got to be careful with what you say, even though I mean it's reality. I guess. I mean, some people say this is all a fake. I think some people in China this morning, in the area where they were locked down, the Wuhan area, I think they were like yelling out their balconies this morning. You can Google it up.
Yeah, they were.
But I think they were like, "This is fake." What? There's everything's cool here. What the? So there's conspiracy.
13 days ago.
So 13 days ago, we were talking about this very subject, and here we are.
I'm sorry, 5 days ago.
Okay, 5 days
No, this
ago.
one says a week, so it's been more than a week.
Okay, we've been talking about it for days, days prior to when a lot of these athletes traveled to get there. So, in other words, shit could have hit the fan a little bit less if we, as just, naive human beings, can sit here and prophesize this 5, 7, 13, however many days ago it was. But a multi-billion, or not multi-billion, a quasi-million-dollar tournament, the fifth biggest in all of tennis, has to wait to the last moment? I mean, come on, man. I don't get that. We can talk about it here for how many days, but they wait till the last minute and leave some people basically stranded.
Yeah.
We spoke about this.
I mean, people flew there. They went there. They thought they were going to play it. And there was one person, right?
Yeah.
One person, one. So that's why I say, if they didn't why wouldn't Miami just do it now when they have a lot more cases going on?
Just get it over with.
Yeah, might as well.
So let's touch on...
But maybe they need to put some tournaments in Central America, South America, places that right now are not affected at all.
Now, this brings up another point. This is good. I wrote this in here on the second page. And we're getting towards the end here. This is like when Perry sent the message about the title. I have read numerous reference articles from around the world as of today, and you can check this out and check my math, that the virus that is spreading is more contagious in cooler climates and less contagious in climates that are hot. So the virus is has more integrity in cooler climates. But I'm reading this and I'm like, isn't Iran being nailed by this? Didn't one of their senior politicians just die from it? Okay. And then flip side of that, if that's true, then why is it that we hear nothing out of North Korea? I get that they're isolated, but nonetheless, I mean, when stuff leaks out and you've heard nothing, I don't really see the mathematics here.
Then why are there people in Miami in those areas that are warm? That's warmer than Alabama.
Well, we haven't
because they travel.
Well, and you haven't heard about any colossal outbreaks in Latin America or Latin America or South America.
No, I have family.
And not in Africa, but yet you do in Iran. And it's like, blistering hot there most of the time, except in the high altitudes there. There are some mountains there. But I'm just saying it's a little puzzling to me, as we mentioned yesterday, that there's so many things that people die of by the millions, if not annually, lung cancer, obesity, heart disease, and the list goes on. But we don't go scurry. Hey, cancel that tournament, U.S. Open in New York, because there's a whole lot of people that eat too many big, huge sub sandwiches in the parking lot. They might die of obesity. Slow them down out there. Hold up. You don't hear about it, but yet we cancel Indian Wells. And again, I'm not.
Oh, and then they're talking about postponing and putting it during the Asian swing.
Watch out for Wimbledon. They drink too many mimosa champagnes in the morning. They may die. Shut it down. You don't hear that, and I mean that comically. But here's something that annihilates or kills or is lethal to from statistics I've read 0.3% to up to 3.4% of the people that it infects. But does not lung cancer terminate like almost all the people it infects? shut down the Australian Open. They smoke cigarettes over there. I just made that up. But you see what I'm saying. We're going to shut down the world of tennis because, a small percentage of people can become problematic or if not killed because of an illness. But I think there's so many illnesses. So many illnesses. And it just seems odd here because we don't really hear anything about it from person-to-person perspective here where we live. Not even close. It's a peculiar set of circumstances for me. So I'm too dumb, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist for the most part. But it just seems odd for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing seems a little stinky. Anyway, the last thing I want to mention is when we have layoffs of any type in any sport, no matter what, rust sets in. Match play in any sport leads to freshness. Here's an example.
It's cooling off Djokovic right now. Like, Djokovic has to cool off for now.
And I don't think that's good for. I don't think that's good. Why do heavyweight?
That's not good for him.
Why do heavyweight champions in boxing per se take on Buster Douglas is one of those guys Mike Tyson took on, and he fell victim to not being prepared because he thought he was going to go right through him, and Buster Douglas knocked his ass out. Anyway. But why do we take matches in the first place? So we say match ready. Why do we take fights from challengers to stay fresh for the title bout? So when we take lulls in match play, it leads to lackadaisical performances when the tournaments reinitiate.
Right.
I say this from a coaching perspective because let's look at our 10-year-old daughter. We don't play her in many tournaments, and she can out-practice anybody. But you put her in a tournament, and she can't outplay someone that sucks 50 times worse because she's not used to being in matches. So anxiety sets in, especially for those hypothetically, metaphorically, outside the top 200 in the world. They're still not match ready to play the best of the best. They're not match fresh. So challenger jumps in against the heavyweight champion and gets thumped. So rush sets in here. So, does that make Wimbledon? Let's say French is a skew. It gets canceled, and they're like, okay, everybody's been off 3 months. Let's have Wimbledon. How exciting is Wimbledon? How erratic is it? How suspect is it to lackadaisical performances? How suspect will it be to injuries for players that aren't used to the intensity of a match and their body tweaks or gives out a knee? It happens. Rust sets in, and shit hits the fan quickly.
Yeah.
So what do? I give a big shout out to anyone in the qualies that traveled to Indian Wells. A big shout out, and hopefully they get home and recoup financially quickly. Again, I'm not calling.
California is not cheap to travel.
Yeah, it's wickedly expensive. I mean,
that's not a place I'd want to be stuck in.
I'm from there. Last time I went to San Francisco, I got off the airplane, I got in the cab, and the cab driver turned around. The first thing he said, "You're not from here?" I'm like, damn, I was born here. And he was like, but you're not from... I was like, I was born here. And he was like, yeah, you're not from here now. In other words, it's crazy expensive to live out there. And that's up in Northern Cali, and Indian Wells down south is no cheaper. Anyway, there for me is some extreme question marks with this whole deal. Your comments, I guess, can answer it all. And maybe I'm stupid, and maybe I'll get fried for it, and whatever. But... there's no more alarm in this virus to me than there is people going outside and lighting up a cigarette. But, we're not canceling crap because of that. I read a couple of notes today about... oh, shoot, what was I going to say? I thought I wrote this down. Maybe not. About Wimbledon.
I see Wimbledon right there.
Yeah, I was looking down. I thought... Anyway... Wimbledon is already prepared to refund tickets for those that have bought them. So projecting this forward, ouch. It may be a season without
it's going to affect the economy. It's affecting the economy already. Nothing to do with tennis, but when Chia says, your stock market is 6% down. He's like, it's affecting everything. I'm like, yeah, I didn't know that.
Anyway, guys, I think that's for the most it.
By the way, does anybody understand the point system? Why would this affect the players if the tournament was canceled? It shouldn't. But why would it affect them? Because I've heard that people are going to drop some ranking points. But why? They didn't play.
I didn't think about this. That's a great question. So the question is why would the rankings points negatively affect a player if the tournament is canceled.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't know you wrote that. I think Gene Swart helped you.
Yeah, he was trying to help me, and I was trying to read it, but still, it doesn't say. There's no clause saying if the tournament is canceled, what happens? They're going to take away those points.
Yeah, I was too busy on that.
Supposedly, the points are they're gonna lose points.
Yeah, I was like on a globe. I was focused on like Iran cases and North Korea cases, and you were focused there. But the thought here is great. Repeat that thought.
The points. They're
yeah.
Players are gonna lose points.
So look, I think the answer to the question is this. The point system is based upon a 52-week projected schedule or a 52-week schedule. It's always churning, kind of like the Dow, the stock market. It's always turning. So I guess you could pause it. You could like hit the pause button and then restart it. But I think because the statistics like take in consideration the
TM1, so that's
the previous
points.
year, I think if you don't affect everyone the same way, then I think mathematically, as the clock keeps ticking, I think it would come out flawed at the end of the year. So I don't think it'll negatively affect anyone because I think everyone, your points may drop, but so is everyone else's along with it. So your points may lower, but I think so will.
So you did bad last year. It's too bad.
Well, you're going to lose 1,000, but whoever made the finals before you is going to lose, 500? I think that's how it works, or 750.
Yeah.
And then the people that made it are going to still be right behind you because they lost the same amount of points, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Okay.
Anyway, that's it. Again, we will not stop doing tennis here because we have all of you to keep things off and popping. Let's go! Let's get down! Take care. Adios.
Adios.